Welcome, Wesleyan leaders and pastors. So great to be meeting with you, our first webinar of 2025. So excited to jump into this year together and just keep working side by side in how we can help you continue to move the needle on disciples, making disciple makers, and in the movement of multiplication and disciple making. An exciting announcement before we step in with our guests and topic today. We have been able to gift you, every church, so the lead pastor of every church, a free membership to Right Now Media for the year of 2025. And so if you are a lay leader or a clergy leader in your church, get this information to your lead pastor. And then the subscription is for the lead pastor and core leadership and their family. And so excited, if you already have a membership, you can also go to this contact information and they can give you the discount and adjust that. And I'm just so excited that this can be another resource for you at your disposal to help with disciple making and getting to work. So now we will jump in with Andrea Gunter, Executive Vice President of Kingswood University, and Pastor Joshua Blake at Flintwood Wesleyan Church in Columbus, Illinois. And we're going to discuss Kingswood Learn. It's an amazing, amazing tool for all levels of learning. New believers, lay, clergy, college level. We'll jump in. So Andrea, welcome. Glad to have you. Let's kick off with, what is Kingswood Learn?
Oh, thanks, Katie. It's great to be here. Kingswood Learn is essentially a gift that Kingswood has developed in partnership with Campus EDU. It's a learning platform filled with micro courses for the local church. And our goal was really just to create a resource that could help the local churches with some of the pain points that they're experiencing. And this is essentially our answer to that. We asked a lot of questions of a lot of different pastors, a lot of different churches, and just essentially said, how can Kingswood better serve what you're trying to do? Our mission statement includes the reality that Kingswood does exist to serve Jesus Christ by strengthening the local and global church. And we do that on a number of levels. We have our undergraduate and our graduate degrees, which are really geared towards vocational ministry and marketplace ministry and equipping servants in those areas. We have our certificate level courses, which is all about the licensing and the ordination track for the Wesleyan Church. But what we were missing was a way to really equip lay leadership in the local church. And Kingswood Learn is our response to that aspect of equipping that really helps to serve pastors and their staff as they try to mobilize the lay leaders that they have for the work that God's calling their church and their local congregations to.
Mm-hmm. So wonderful. Something that we can be so proud of as Wesleyans is our history rooted in the collaboration between lay and clergy. And so I love so much that you are making a tool and a practical and available free way to help everybody who calls their life to Christ to utilize and grow and learn and then equip and empower and disciple others with. So thank you so much. What an amazing step, revelation to be taken. Could you show us a little bit more about Kingswood Learn and what that actually looks like when people go to the site and start exploring this resource?
Sure. So Kingswood Learn, it is a website, kingswoodlearn.com. It's very easy to get to. Once you get here, you're on the home page. And as you're navigating through the website at any point, you can click the Kingswood Learn icon here on the top left, and it'll get you back to this home page. But here you can run a preview video that gives you just a little bit of a taste of what Kingswood Learn is. You can search for different courses, explore those courses. We have featured courses that are available. We have something new, which are Spanish courses that we can talk about in a little bit. And then we have our ministerial license training that hope we can also get to before this hour's up. But getting into the site is very easy. You log in or you register depending on if it's your first time or not. Once you log in, you're in your own ecosystem within Kingswood Learn, and you have a tab that brings you to the homepage, but also to your courses. Once you select a course and you register or enroll in it, it becomes part of your program page. So you can see here that I have selected 3 different courses as this test user that I'm currently enrolled in. Kingswood Learn is a free resource. There is no charge for the courses. All of the content is available. None of it's hidden behind a paywall. So we wanted to just make sure that people could access all of the content. There is an option to have your work assessed by an educator who can then give you a grade, give you feedback, and that is behind a $35 cost. But the actual courses and all of the resources are free. So once you go down through, select what kind of course you want, perhaps a brief guide to church history, you can open that up. It'll give you an explanation of what the actual course is about. You can watch a trailer here that will, the author, Dr. Bud Bence, will be talking about the content of the course. It will tell you how many minutes of video are included, how many lessons and activities are part of that, and approximately how many hours it will probably take you to complete this course from beginning to end. If it's a course that you're looking at and you're thinking, okay, this is exactly what I'm looking at, or I'm even just curious, you can just enroll now. It's simple. You click the button, ask it to enroll you, and you're in. And once you do that, you now have access to all of the different resource pieces that are part of this. So if you're going down through, you click on your lesson 1, you can see that it's got a little bit of an explanation about what you're going to be talking about during this lesson. There's the course video that once you play it, it will be the teaching from the course instructor. And then there are additional resources on each one of these. So you can open them up. Sometimes there are things that you can read a little bit more about, get more context, more understanding from what was talked about in the video. When you complete it, you mark it as done. You continue on to the next part. You can go back to your course, back to your home page, whatever it is, however you want to run this. And then as you go through, it keeps track of your progress. So if I go to my courses page, you can see that I'm 4% complete now because I read that first document in the Brief Guide to Church History. The Basic Christian's Belief, I'm 30% complete. The other 2 I haven't started yet. But as I go back to these courses, log in on the next day that I have opportunity to come and study, I go back in and it allows me to pick up wherever I left off. So in this case, I can see I've got all my lesson 1 completed. I've done 2 out of the 4 activities in lesson 2. I haven't done anything yet in lesson 3. And each of our lessons are created so that you have the video, you have the content, you generally have some type of practice or activity, depending on the course, that you can complete. And at the very end of each, like for example, this here, lesson 1, it has a knowledge check, which is like a true false. And it's just a simple way to say, are you grabbing the different concepts that we're looking for you to pick up in each of these courses? And then at the end of each course, there's always a capstone. And the capstone is the final project that you will submit if you are interested in having an assessment completed. And there's instructions on what to do, what the assessment looks like, what you need to contribute. This particular one, there's multiple choice questions, and then there's some different things that you can submit. But an educator will then go through and give you feedback on that and say, yes, exactly, you captured everything that we were hoping that you would, or we recommend that you revisit some of this content, dig a little deeper in this area, because we really do want people to learn. That's the point of this.
So it doesn't lock you out if you fail.
Oh, no, absolutely not. You can do as many attempts as you need to get it through. The point of this is to learn. It's not to cause stress or anxiety in any way. It's really just to say, yeah, am I capturing what it is that this content is trying to communicate? And then every one of these courses, they're not just learning, every one of them are very practical in their application. Every unit has practical application. Okay, this is great, but now what do I do with this? How do I think about this? How does this inform my Bible study? How does this inform my evangelism? How does this inform the discipleship within my family? And it gives you a chance to work through that, process it, write it out, work it out, talk it out, and then get feedback if you're interested in doing that, and earning badges along the way for that.
Yes. Could you tell us a little bit more about the badge and what
Sure.
those look
Yeah.
like?
Yeah. So we have badges available for each one of the courses, and we call those micro badges. And then we have groups of courses that would be added together to create a competency badge in an area. So, for example, you might be interested in earning a next gen ministry badge. And that would be 5 or so courses that would be grouped together to say, we are confident that this adds a well-rounded learning for a lay leader, for a volunteer who's working in the youth ministry or young adult ministry, to be able to really feel better equipped for the job at hand. And so they would go through, complete each of those micro badges, and the micro badges are a cost of $35 for the feedback. It's not something that we're interested in raking in money. We really just need to compensate the people that are spending their time processing the information and evaluating for the students. So it's really just a way to honor their time in that. But as they earn those, they earn the badges. And so the goal would be for different churches to identify what type of leadership training would be most helpful in their context. Is it small group? Is it a women's ministry, a men's ministry, discipleship, evangelism? What would be most helpful? And is there a badge that you can either identify from what we've put together or create your own custom church badge? And we can do that for you with its own logo and everything. So you can have, the River Cross discipleship badge. And the pastors at River Cross have decided people who go through these courses, we want to recognize their accomplishment in a significant way, and have that badge awarded to them. So, and it's just a way to be able to hold your leaders accountable for training and for equipping, especially when you're working with groups of people that you want to make sure people are all on the same page as a leadership. Once you've identified that courses that this is how or what we want our lay leaders to be teaching. It makes it easier to be able to then have a consistency across your congregation to say, yeah, if you want to be a small group leader, we need you to earn this badge. And then we at least know we're at the same foundational starting point.
Yes, yes, yes. So in the local church, this has implications for leadership or pastors, and we're onboarding a new leader. Hey, take these 6 courses. This will catch you up to speed with some of the baseline we need to start, or continuing education this year. Our
Right.
leadership will go through A, B, and C and discuss it, or however that wants to be applied. And then even the custom facet just blows my mind, because it makes it feel that much more personal and united within that ministry team, to be able to say like, oh, this is ours and we're walking through, but it's all professional and just all brought together for them.
Right.
I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
The other, go
Oh, I
ahead.
was just going to say that we recognize that across North America and around the world, we actually have, I checked last night, 141 different countries represented on Kingswood Learn right now with the users. We have over 1,500 users. And I counted every one of those countries with growing fascination as the number kept ticking higher. But the contexts are always so different. So what works as a discipleship badge in one area may not work in another. And whether you're urban or rural, whether you're an established or a church plant, so many differences. So to be able to customize your own badge only makes sense, because this is a tool to serve you. So if it's not serving you, it's really not that helpful.
Right, right. Just want to pause for a second and encourage all of you joining in with us to use the chat. Tell us where you're at, where you're watching from. And then also, if you have questions along the way or are looking for a certain answer, put it in the chat. And if we can answer that in our time together, we will do that. So with jumping into the context of the local church again, I absolutely love that this can be facilitated in a disciple-making relationship, regardless of the maturity of
Mm.
Christians, of the disciple maker and the disciple. In the We Disciple app that we have created for free, you can go to wesleyan.org /We Disciple, and it's an app on the App Store that you download. We Disciple, one word. And we've talked about this in a couple webinars ago, but it's just resourcing and tools to help that practical, everyday disciple and disciple making relationship flourish. And in that are many courses and video examples and tools through Kingswood Learn on our app. And so that just shows that it's not just for leadership, period. It's not just for growing in educational structure. It is designed to be utilized by the everyday disciple maker and the everyday disciple. And it is how valuable in that facet.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
great.
Absolutely.
And so the topics range from spiritual warfare to different types of ministry leadership and board meetings and marketplace ministry and the
Right,
gamut.
absolutely. Like if we have a few different categories that we've picked: biblical studies, theology, church planting, discipleship, helping skills, marketplace ministry, next gen ministry, ordination, organizational management, and technical skills. The reality is, for all of us, I think the goal is that there is no separation between life and ministry, but that we just minister through life. And so as we go in and out of our different contexts, whether that's marketplace, where we go to our 9 to 5 job, or our family that we come home to at night, our friends that we meet with outside of the home, or the Bible study that we lead on a Wednesday evening, all of that, we have the opportunity to be ministers. And so the goal here is that this isn't something that is only applicable in a certain setting, but it's applicable across all facets of life. And so some of these courses, like helping skills, you may have somebody in your circle of influence that is just going through a really challenging time with grief, with loss, with whatever. And you just want to be able to walk alongside them as a friend, but you want to know what is the best way to serve them in that. There's great opportunities there to start, but you might be looking at leading a Bible study and thinking that it's just totally out of reach for you. You just don't know how to do that. You've never been taught, never been trained. Well, hopefully our courses on that would give you the confidence to be able to step into that role. And it's the same. You might be looking at something thinking, I've got a teenager, and some of these questions that they have, they're just out of my league. We have an apologetics course. Equip yourself as a mom or a dad and get in the trenches. So yeah, the goal is definitely to make sure that we are all over the place, recognizing that ministry and life aren't separated. They just happen everywhere together
Yes.
for those of us that are discipling others.
Yes. 100%. Pastor Joshua, I would love to hear from you in the context of how you have utilized this resource in your local church context.
Yes, hi. It's so good to be here with you guys. Yes, I love Kingswood Learn. I got to hear about it right from the get-go when they were putting it out there. I got to be a part of that and just getting to learn more about it. And so I love, there's 2 courses that I've done so far with groups. So I love that Kingswood Learn is not just the individual getting to learn, but it's great as well for group ministry. And so, as a worship pastor at a previous church plant, I didn't know where each person was at when it came to worship. And so, the What is Worship course through Kingswood Learn actually was super helpful because it allowed me to watch videos alongside them and then to have discussion questions already provided. I could come up with my own, but it saved me incredible amount of time each week to just follow through the course knowing this is Wesleyan approved. It's gone through everything. I don't have to wonder what theology is going on, but
Yes.
I can go, hey, this is the stuff I learned in college. Here it is in easy, bite-sized courses so that then I can share it with them. And they loved it. It was super easy to understand for them. I had a group of 3 other leaders at the time, And it was incredible just to be able to watch after practice. We'd practice for 45 minutes.
Mm.
And for the next 30 minutes, right after, we would watch the video and discuss. It
Wow.
didn't take hardly any time at all to pull it up, to sit down and discuss just the deep theology in worship.
Mm.
And that is one thing that I loved, because if I had to create it by myself, I would have probably it would have taken months, maybe a year, because there's so much that you can talk about. And yet we were able to finish it in a month and a half.
Wow.
And kind of just our own capstone that we did as a group is
Mm.
we then did a worship night event at our church.
Wow.
And it allowed me to give them the space to not only lead worship, but also share at different points of the night what they learned. And I could know, hey, as a group, we are moving together rather than coming and trying to figure out what we're doing. We were able to move together knowing we have a same understanding of worship. And so I loved that part of it.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. I love that you brought up the fact that you have security knowing it's Wesleyan vetted theology resources, because so often we can grab a great resource, but not really be sure all the time if our leaders or lay leaders actually have the foundation to be able to vet that. And so everything on here is safe for us as Wesleyan learners and Wesleyan leaders. So great.
And I appreciated it, especially because like we also have disciples making disciples, and doing that micro course. I'm doing that with teenagers and young adults, doing like a mix between the two. And there's
Mhm.
probably 6 to 7 in there with me. And it's so comforting to know I don't have to go through, take hours to find the right videos or to find the right discussion questions. I can watch the video, which maybe is max 15 minutes ahead of time. Usually it's
Mhm.
like 5 to 10 minutes. I watch that ahead of time to know what we're going to be talking about and then share with them. And already with discussion questions, it's easy enough for youth and young adults to comprehend as well.
Mm.
And it's a wonderful resource that I love.
That's incredible. That's just incredible. Uh, I love that it is diverse, not only in the learners, as you shared with us, 141 countries learning in this, 115 user or 1,500 users. But the video creators, the leaders actually designing the courses are diverse in um, men and women, lay and clergy, multi-ethnic, multicultural, multi-generational. And so not only is the learning community diverse, but the teaching community is diverse. And we learn best together. Um, so we have talked about the way we can receive from Kingswood Learn. How can leaders give to the learning process in the pool of videos? Andrea, would you mind talking to us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. We have Kingswood Learn is considered a two-sided platform. One-sided would be us producing content and putting it out there. Two-sided means that we have people out there producing content that is ending up on our platform. And that's really what the goal of it is. We seeded Kingswood Learn with 50 highly produced videos just to get some really good content up there. And as you said, we have people that have been in Christian higher ed in the Wesleyan denomination at the different universities for 30, 40 years. And we also have people who started a disability ministry at their church and have become a go-to resource for people in the area. We know that there are people on this call, there are people in our denomination that have some really good content. And we would love to be able to help them share that, help them resource and equip people around the world. And so we have an opportunity for people to create micro courses, submit them to us to be vetted and then put on the platform. And Katie, you're involved in one of them, the Women in Ministry course, that it was actually brought up as an idea that was presented to us. And then the organizer of that course pulled everybody together. It was all recorded and produced and put on. We have other ones as well, material that people have created. So like John West, for example, I know you had him on here a few months ago. His linchpin leadership material is all information that is going to be put on our site. We're in the process of creating those into micro courses right now. The Christian Chaplains of America, they have a Christian chaplaincy course and a grief course dealing with others. And we've taken those courses and we've split them down and actually created 15 micro courses out of those. And those are going to be uploaded to the site.
Wow.
All of the articles of religion that the Wesleyan Church has, all of those videos, we've paired learning materials with those and content, and those are going to be uploaded. So there's everything from that to just the person in the church who is just really good at tech ministry. And they know that there's a lot of other churches that could benefit from a simple micro course where a volunteer that says, yeah, I can run sound or I can run PowerPoint or whatever on a Sunday morning, but I really don't know what I'm doing, or I really need my confidence boosted a bit here. It's a simple, free way to get training and for people to be able to pass on to others the knowledge that they have been able to gain across their ministry time. So if you're out there and you're interested in that, we would absolutely love to hear your ideas and to be able to make micro courses with your content. Katie is, again, we joked a little bit, you don't want to make this the Katie show, but she's just a prime example of someone who is able to help us in this way. She has her book that she just released, Live and Lead Anointed, How the Holy Spirit Sanctifies Men and Women to Lead Together. And she's turning that content into a micro course. So Katie will be recording 5 or 6 short videos to talk about it, and then pairing that with content from her book and with activities to learn. And it'll become one of the micro courses that we have. Down on the bottom of our Kingswood Learn page, there is an opportunity here that it says want to produce content for Kingswood Learn. When you click on that, on the sign up, it opens up a Cognito form that you can just fill out really quickly and just give us an idea of what is it, the content that you're interested in creating a micro course for. It doesn't have to be because you've produced a book or because you have some kind of, linchpin leadership that everyone in the Wesleyan Church is aware of. It could be something very simple. It could be just a burden, a passion, a ministry that you are highly invested in, that you want to be able to share what you know with others. You fill this form out and submit it, and someone from our team will get in contact with you. We have different ways to help you with the micro course. We will pair you with somebody who will walk right alongside you in developing that course and what it will look like. We also have a micro course on how to build a micro course.
Yes, which I'm grateful for.
Yeah, you can actually work through that lesson by lesson, and each lesson builds on the previous one, and really just shows you how to craft and structure the whole thing. But you don't have to be somebody who is ready to publish work. It really is for the everyday person who has a passion for a ministry area, for some kind of concept that they would be able to share with others. And God has given so many of us, well, all of us, but just really unique stories. And some of the lessons that we've learned from those stories, whether it be hardship and grief or opportunities or leadership or some of our evangelism or discipleship or things that are happening in the church, things that are happening in our workplace, things that are happening in our homes, to be able to share that information as a resource for others and help equip them to learn some of the lessons that maybe we learned the hard way, but now we're in a position to be able to equip people to do that. So we would love to have your ideas. Our goal is to have hundreds of courses on Kingswood Learn, many of them provided by people just like those listening to this call today.
Yes. About how many courses right now do you have?
We're nearing around 60 courses right now, but we have another 15 or 20 in production at this point. So we're moving up there. The Kingswood Learn platform is only a year old at this point. And so that our first year was kind of working out a little bit of the you launch something of this magnitude, there's always pieces to it that need to be completed and need to be refined. And so we've been doing a lot of that refining and adding some new things as well along the way. So in the process, we're a little bit behind where we would love to be right now with producing additional content from others. But we're definitely ready. We have our system in place, our process is set up, and our team is ready to get those courses built and get them produced and up on the site.
Right. In terms of language, about 60 courses, 15 in the hopper in English. What about Spanish or other languages or translation?
Right. So we are currently working on, which I'm actually very excited about. The courses are being translated into Spanish. So we have a short list of 10 that we're starting with. The first one is available right now. Actually, the first two are available right now. I can clarify. They said they thought they would have the New Testament one finished by the time this webinar launched, and they have. So this is really, I'm not sure if I can play video within the screen or not, if it launches within or if it launches a separate window, I'm not sure.
I don't think so.
Okay. So the really neat thing about how we're doing this is AI generated. And so the speaker actually looks like they're speaking Spanish. It doesn't look like they're speaking English that has been dubbed Spanish. So I wish I could show you because it is super cool. That alone is worth going to the website, signing up and getting an account and taking a look at that. But these courses, once you open them up, the videos are all in Spanish and the course material is in Spanish. So if I open this one up, you would see him speaking in Spanish if I played that. And then all of the resources have been translated into Spanish so that the individual studying has it in their own language. Kingswood Learn now has the option. It will recognize if you have a Spanish web browser that you are working in, it will recognize when you sign up and automatically it will create the Spanish interface, the user interface for it. Now, a lot of what was on the platform is in English and it's customized, so it doesn't change that, but all the actual directional tools will be in the Spanish language. But yeah, our goal is to have these, a number of these turned as quickly as possible into the Spanish language so that those with our Spanish congregations can take advantage of that. But we do have 2 available right now. We should have a few more within the next few days, and they will be pumped out regularly over the next few months. So that's kind of exciting for us.
That's
and our
very
goal
exciting.
is to move to French as well. We figure with English, Spanish, and French, we really have captured the greatest majority of the world in terms of their primary language, their first language.
Wonderful. One question that has come in is, how do you ensure that the audio is translating correctly and with the proper context, with lots of different translations and having different, ways of producing that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. We do have somebody that works through and vets the content, someone who is a native Spanish speaker, so that helps us to make sure that what is being translated properly. But it is one of those things that with AI, like anything, you do have to recognize that there could be some things that maybe would be a little bit different, intended a little bit different in the English or Spanish language, but we are doing our very best to make sure that it is translated the way it should be.
Great.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Could you maybe go back to the beginning and tell us how this movement and resource was birthed and how that came to be?
Sure. Kingswood Learn, as I think I mentioned, we essentially were going to different churches and just saying, how can we better serve you? And over we heard, it's great, the people that you're training, that you're sending are interns, or students, Kingswood students, that's wonderful. Our challenge is we have such a mission and vision for our community, but we don't have the bandwidth to train our people. and we're preaching on Sunday, sometimes multiple services on the weekend. We've got stuff happening in-house, stuff happening in the community. Carving out the time to create resources and to be able to make that available and to actually train our leadership is difficult. A lot of solo pastor churches, they're doing everything, and they need a way to really kind of help them alleviate some of that pressure to be all things to all people. And so Kingswood Learn was created out of that desire to say, why don't you let us provide the content and you facilitate the relationship? We can't facilitate the relationship from here because they're your people in your context.
Yes.
You can do that. So at Kingswood, we kind of consider we're the content experts and you guys are the context experts. So take our content and then help your leaders process it, work through it, use it to support what you are doing. We have one church who went through the Healthy Spiritual Practices group, and they had 35 people gathering every Sunday evening. It's a smaller country church. They had 35 people gathering. And so Sunday morning, the pastor was preaching a sermon series on healthy spiritual practices. Sunday night, they were using the Kingswood Learn course to supplement that. And the pastor that was in charge of leading that course, he said one of the best things about it was just that it allowed us to create community with really good content. Our people love to get together. If you've ever spent January in New Brunswick, you know that getting together can be a highlight of your week. So they love to get together and to know that it wasn't another thing that the pastor had to prepare for. It was something that was already prepared, and they really just had to facilitate that in the context of what they were studying and use their Sunday morning messages and as a springboard for that discussion. So at the end of 2022, the first part of 2023, we found ourselves in conversation with Campus EDU and Darren Campbell, who is the CEO and owner of that company, and just really found that their desire to equip the local church and our desire to equip the local church, we were on the same track, and it just made sense to partner together. So Campus EDU has built the platform for us and helped us with the original 50 courses that were built, and just remain an incredible partner in this, facilitating this Kingswood Learn platform. And so we developed courses. We hit the ground running, and within 7 months recorded 50 courses, and they had them all produced. And we launched Kingswood Learn at Fall 2023 in Cincinnati last Christmas. And since then have just been watching it kind of grow and morph and change. And every time we get together with them and start talking about what could be next for Kingswood Learn, there's just so much that you can do with a resource like this. That's where the Spanish language courses came from, and the French language courses are going to come from, and the licensing courses that are on the platform as well, and how we ended up getting to that point. But really just a recognition that if we could create a YouTube type channel that is completely vetted, and you don't have to be concerned with sending your lay people there and saying, go see what you can find. And hopefully I'm not going to have to correct your theology or argue with you about why we're not going to do that in our context. You don't have to worry about all that, which is what you're going to get if you do a Google search or a YouTube kind of thing. Instead, there's just confidence that, there is a Wesleyan institution that is vetting this content to ensure that it aligns with what it is that we are teaching our people, and we believe God's word is saying to us.
What literally an answer to prayer, to so many prayers, and what a blessing. So is there anything else that either of you would like to share before we wrap up in our time?
One thing I would love to show you is just here on our Kingswood Learn, we have ministerial license training courses that are on the website. And these courses are actually the 7 courses that are part of the 7-pack for licensing in the Wesleyan Church. And there are three options for how you can take this. These are, they're bigger than a usual micro course. These are actually 3 credit college courses, 3 credit academic credit courses that you can take, but you can audit it as an audit only. And in that, you get access for free to all of the content that are part of this. Or you can take it for ordination credit, $350 US, because it is a much more robust course and a certificate level course. And then you're in a class and you're engaging with others with it. Or you can take it actually for college credit and have it show up on your transcript. So if you are thinking, God is calling me to ministry, I'm not entirely sure what the future holds, but I do know I want to dig deep and I want to get, the best learning experience I possibly can. You can take this for ordination credit. And then in the future, if you decide, yeah, he's not only calling me to ministry, but he's calling me to be prepared through a degree or a deeper level of preparation, you can convert those to college credit without additional work, which is very helpful. Our Kingswood academic offerings are set up as Lego blocks. Essentially, we have this ecosystem that everything that we have in the Kingswood Learn academic stream builds on everything else. So Kingswood Learn is the very first building block, and it is a small building block because they are micro courses, with the exception of these here licensing courses. But the goal is to make sure that nobody gets partway down a track, discovers that God is calling them to something more, and now they have to just backtrack, start over, cover again material that they've already covered. Instead, we have found a way to be able to wrap what they have done to any certain point up and be able to apply that to credit. So micro courses, of course, are very small. You would need a lot of micro courses to work towards a degree. But in that whole ecosystem, our Kingswood Learn courses, then our certificate level courses for ordination, then our undergraduate courses and our graduate courses, all of those, if you consider that the blocks just keep getting bigger and bigger. We want to make sure that that people are getting credit for what it is that they're doing and learning. And Kingswood Learn is a very safe, easy, economical way to dip your toe in the water and to just explore what is God calling in you to in this next season of ministry and preparation. So we just encourage anyone who's listening to encourage their people to get on there for themselves personally, to have your ministry leaders use it. We have people that are they're running their women's ministry Bible study. They're grabbing micro courses and they're just doing the next one. So anything from that to being able to produce and send in content and have it uploaded. So lots of ways to use this, I think. That
so multifaceted.
Yeah.
It just keeps going. I think, oh, I know all of, all the facets. And then you're like, oh, by the way, and it's just incredible. It's just such an incredible resource. Thank you so much. Pastor Joshua, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
The only thing I would add is the fact that I wish this resource was out sooner. Growing up in Czech Republic as a missionary kid, there were many times where when I started helping out, leading worship or being a part of Sunday school ministry, or I helped start the youth group at my church, I didn't know half the stuff. It was learning from a few people who were older than me and some other missionaries who were ahead of me. But if I had this kind of resource, I feel like there would have been so much more that I could have known way sooner rather than trying to figure it out as I go. And so I definitely want to encourage those who, especially lay leaders who feel like they might not be equipped yet, look at the resource. There's a good chance that it's there and that you'll be able to then go beyond what you thought you could. And for the clergy, use this resource. I think it's a great opportunity to take some time off of your hands, knowing that it's already made, and then to equip the people that God has called us to equip.
Amen. That's wonderful. So encouraging. I want to take more. I'm so excited. Thank you for both of you for coming on and sharing this resource. This recording can be shared with others as you go along. And what's Kingswood Learn? Great. Watch this webinar recording and you'll have the rundown of it all. Our next webinar for February, we are the second Wednesdays at 1 Eastern every month. And February 12th is our Addiction plus Gospel equals Redemption Disciple Making. Pastor Billy Roble will be joining us to talk about the Recovery Church model of disciple making and multiplication. So look forward to seeing you then, and sign up for Right Now Media. Get connected so your church can also have those resource tools. Grateful for you all.